Hey y'all, it's your fellow human being himself, Leo here, just wanting to do a video on how to use ReaPack. So we're going to do a comprehensive video on how you can go about installing ReaPack, as well as how do you use the different features within ReaPack itself. Now, for those who don't know, ReaPack is an extension that you can install into Reaper that basically acts like a download manager to download and install scripts, plugins, and other effects within Reaper. So it's one of the free resources that you can have to get access to scripts, plugins, and a host of other stuff that open source developers have made available to the Reaper community. Before I begin, I would like to give a couple of disclaimers. So for my sighted viewers, my sighted audience who's watching this video, I am a visually impaired person. So the main focus of this video is to help guide blind Reaper users on how to install and use ReaPack. I do have visuals on screen so that you can be able to see what I'm doing as I'm going through the different steps. But I do want to ask for forgiveness up front that sometimes the visuals may not line up with the audio, and it's best to just follow along with the audio whenever possible. And the other disclaimer that I would like to give is to my screen reader users. So I am going to be using NVDA for this demonstration, but generally the key commands or anything that I'm doing for general navigation with NVDA generally works with JAWS. And in regards to Mac users, although the navigation aspect is going to be different between Windows and Mac, the general steps that I'm going to be talking about in this video are still applicable, and you can still follow along even though you're on the Mac side of things. So if there's any differences between Windows and Mac, I will definitely try to highlight them wherever they are. But for the most part, you can follow along as a Mac user as well as a Windows user to this video. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get started and let's go. Okay, so now I am in Google Chrome and I'm going to search for ReaPack. And the link to the website is in the description below.
ReaPack : package ReaPack : package manager for Reaper.
Once you're on the website, navigate to where it says downloads. I'm going to hit insert F7 on NVDA to navigate to it.
Elements list level 1 downloads expanded 3 complementary landmark downloads heading level 2.
And then if you want to know more about the elements lists in NVDA, look in the description below. There's a link to how to use it. Okay, so once you're here, wait, actually, let me maximize the window.
To exit full screen.
Okay, so once you're here, there are 3 operating systems that ReaPack can work with. And the first one is Mac OS, the second one is Windows, the third one is Linux as a beta version. So I'm just going to navigate by headings until I find Windows.
Windows heading level 3.
And under each of these headings, you'll find a 32 or 62-bit version for your operating software. So I'm going to navigate by U till I find 64-bit.
List x86 64-bit link.
Okay. Hit enter on your version. And you don't get any audio feedback, but on screen there's a new section titled Thank You, which is another heading. And I'm going to navigate to that by hitting the letter H.
Clickable thank you.
And under this heading, there's just some background on how ReaPack, who developed ReaPack, and so on and so forth. In this section, you'll find a donate and download button.
Donate and download left paren, Windows x86 64-bit right paren, button.
So it will tell you what you're going to be downloading. And if you want to donate and download, hit this option, do the donation, and it will download from there. But if you don't have any money at this moment and you're not able to donate, you can navigate by links until you find.
Not this time. Take me directly to the download link.
So we're going to hit enter on this, and the download will start to download.
ReaPack downloading 2.6 megabytes. Reaper line ReaPack -x64 left paren, 1 right paren, .dll alert. This type of file can harm your computer. Do you want to keep Reaper line ReaPack -x64 left paren, 1 right paren, .dll anyway? Alert.
Okay, so when you hear that message, basically on whatever web browser, well, at least on Chrome, when you're on Chrome, it doesn't recognize the DLL file type as a plugin format that's usually used for plugins and stuff to download. So it flags it as an unverified file. And when you hear that message, basically it's Chrome telling you that it doesn't recognize the format of the plugin file that you're going to be downloading for your operating system. So if you know where the yes button is or how to get to it, just hit yes. I don't know where it is, so I just go into the Chrome download history by hitting Control J on Windows.
Download complete : Reaper line ReaPack -x64 left paren, clear all button.
Okay, so navigate by headings until you find the word for today.
Table with 20 rows and 4 columns, clickable today, heading level 2.
And from here, look for your ReaPack file.
Row 1 column 1 Reaper line ReaPack -x64 left paren, 1 right paren, .dll.
When you're in here, hit B until you find more actions.
More actions menu button, sub menu.
And then hit enter on this.
Cell. Delete. Download unverified file 2 of 2.
And then hit enter on this, and it will start to download your file.
Alert, downloaded unverified file. Download complete : Reaper line ReaPack -x64 left paren, 1 right paren, .dll.
I should make a note, when you have a left paren, 1 right paren, or anything that modifies the DLL or DYLIB file, if you're on the Mac, remove it before doing this next step that we're going to be doing. But yeah, if you're downloading it for the first time, don't worry about what I'm going to say. It's just, it will affect Reaper not recognizing ReaPack when you're going to install it and run it in Reaper. It's not going to work as effectively. But yeah, once you've downloaded your file, close out of this, and then copy your file from your downloads, and then head on over to Reaper. Okay, now we're in Reaper, and our first step in installing this file is we're going to go to the Reaper resource path. So make sure you have copied your ReaPack file and go to the options menu. And on Windows, you can just hit Alt-O to access the options menu.
Record mode : normal R.
And we're going to arrow up until we find
Custom show Reaper resource path in Explorer/Finder.
This option, show resource path in Explorer/Finder. Hit enter on it.
Reaper-File Explorer.
It will take you to a place where it has all your Reaper app data stored. And we're going to hit U to go to user plugins.
User plugins 21 of 43.
Hit enter on this.
Items view list.
And then paste the file that you've copied in here.
Reaper line ReaPack -x64.dll 12 of 12.
And then close out of this and restart Reaper. Okay. Once you're in Reaper again, navigate to the extensions menu. And on Windows, you just hit Alt-X to get there.
OSARA submenu.
And in this menu, you should find a new ReaPack submenu.
ReaPack submenu P.
So that lets you know that now ReaPack is installed and everything is functioning and running. So now let's look at the different options within ReaPack.
Synchronize Packages S.
So we have Synchronize Packages,
Browse Packages.
Browse Packages,
Import Repositories. Manage Repositories.
Import Repositories, and Manage Repositories. So these are the main four options for doing different things within ReaPack. There is a informational option right below this, which is
About ReaPack v1.2.
and this option is just there to kind of give you more information as to the background of ReaPack and stuff like that. But we're mainly going to focus on the first four options. So let's arrow down again.
Synchronize Packages S.
So this option is what we're going to use whenever we are refreshing the repositories or the packages within a repository. So as I mentioned before, ReaPack is a download manager for packages. This means like scripts, plugins, effects that are stored within a developer's repository. So if you want to make sure that everything is up to date within the developer's repository, if the developer has added new files or if he has removed some stuff from that repository, you would go here and hit enter on this to refresh that repository. So let's do that.
ReaPack : Reaper v7.30.
When you hit enter on the Synchronized Packages option, one of two things could happen. Either it will download what it wants to download and then it will drop you out into the Reaper main window, the track view, or it will report a transaction report. And in this report, it will tell you what new scripts or what new plugins or things have been added to the repository, whichever ones are added to your ReaPack at the moment. So those are two things that you can expect when it comes to the synchronizing repositories. Now let's go back into the extensions menu, hit Alt-X again.
OSARA submenu.
And you can hit P for ReaPack.
Synchronize Packages S.
And the next option is Browse Packages. I'm going to come back to that one.
Browse Packages. Import Repositories.
So let's go in here first and see what things are available to us in here.
Import Repositories dialog. Type or paste one or more repository index URLs left paren, one per line right paren.
Okay, so when you're in here, it drops you over a combo box. Now, import repositories is a place where you can go to add new repositories to your ReaPack download manager. So if you are wanting to add a new repository from a developer, all you will need is their repository URL. And you would just take that and paste it in here. And you can hit OK, and then it will just add that to your repositories in ReaPack. Okay, so I've copied Tony's link, and I'm going to paste it in here.
Blank.
And here's what it sounds like.
https://gethup.com/timtam/repack/raw/master/index.xml.
And this is the one for Tony Barth's repository. So Tony, who's developed Accessi chords, which has there's a demonstration for it in the description below, and just a host of other cool scripts that are accessible to blind users. You would definitely want to pick this up. So the link is in the description below, and you can just follow the steps in here to just import the repository. Just copy the link, paste it in here, and then you would be good to go. Something to note here is it's linked to GitHub pages. So this is kind of like a repository is hosted on GitHub. This is the URL link that you would have and the format for it that you would want to look for when you're pasting it into here for the ReaPack repositories.
Blank.
Now, let's say you want to add another repository at the same time. So you don't want to just add one, you want to add multiple. Hit enter to create a new line.
HTTPS
So that's Tony's link.
blank.
And there's a blank space underneath. And then at that point, you can add what other new repository you want. So as long as you have the URL link, you just paste it in that new line. And let's say you want to discover new repositories, other repositories that you would like to add for future use. You can tab until you hear this button.
Discover Repositories.
And this button will take you to a list where there are a bunch of repositories. So let's hit enter on this and see what happens.
Untype repository list. Banner landmark visited link ReaPack.
So here's the web page. I guess it's hosted on ReaPack's page. Let me see where it is.
Tool https://repack.com/.
Okay, yeah. So it's hosted on ReaPack.com.
List with.
And it's just a list of like around 70 or more repositories that are available for you to use. So I'm going to navigate by headings so that I can get to the top of the list.
Repository list heading level 1.
And the first thing you encounter under this heading is 3 links. So the first link is
main landmark list with 76 items, list with 3 items, how to import a repository.
So if for some reason you forget how to import, you can just come here. And the second link is
edit this list link,
which I don't know what it does. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. And then the third link is
copy all link.
Copy all. So if you're like, I don't want to copy just one link, I want to copy all the repository URLs from here, hit this and it will copy all of them. And then you can just paste it in the import repositories combo box. I'm not going to do that, but you can. Just be mindful that for some reason there are some links that may seem out of date for some reason. But yeah, I'm not going to do that for today. Now, hit U to navigate by unvisited links if you're on JAWS or NVDA.
REA team scripts link.
And then this is the layout of, this is the first repository. And the layout of the repositories list is kind of like this. So you have your link to the developers page, and then you have a description below the link.
838 scripts.
So it tells you how many scripts or whatever are in the repository. And then below this is the repository URL.
Link https://gethup.com/rea-team/rea-scripts/raw/master/index.xml.
Okay, so that's just an example of the overall layout. I'm going to navigate to a different one.
Alberto V5 Alliance Sky Music script link.
Okay, so let's take this one. So that's repository developer.
46 scripts.
46 scripts. And then
link https://gethup.com.
The link again.
Archie 591 scripts.
So it seems like there's like a majority of scripts, but there are some that have plugins as well. I'm trying to remember.
Alliance Ascendant
scripts.
133 scripts, 7 effects, 1 web interface.
So there you go. There are different categories of things that are listed under for each repository. So yeah, that's all. And let's say if you want to just copy one URL, navigate to the URL you are looking for in particular.
https://
So I have the Ascendant scripts here. And the way I kind of do it on Windows is hit Shift F10, or you can also hit the applications key to right click on the link.
Menu submenu.
And in this context menu that pops up, you can arrow down until you find copy link address.
Open, save, copy link address E5 of 7.
And then just hit boom.
Link copied alert.
And then once you're done with the repositories list, you can just close out of this web page.
Import repositories dialog.
And navigate back to the combo box.
Type or paste one or more repository index URL.
And then let me...
H blank.
Okay, so here we are. And now I've pasted it. And now I'm just going to navigate to the OK button.
Discover OK button Alt plus O. Reaper v7.30- licensed for personal/small business use.
Okay, so we're back out in the Reaper main window. And I'm going to hit Alt X to go into the ReaPack submenu.
OSARA sub, Synchronize Packages S.
Okay. And hit M for Manage Repositories.
Manage Repositories dialog. The repositories enabled in this list are used to populate the package list : list.
So the repositories are enabled by ReaPack. And once they're enabled, all the packages within those repositories will populate your Browse Packages window. Let's see how many I have.
ReaPack semi, https://reapack.com/index.xml 1 of 10.
Okay, so I have 10 repositories. The first 8, which is like ReaPack,
REA Team Scripts,
REA Team Scripts,
REA Team JSFX, REA Team Theme Semi, REA Team LangPack Semi, REA Team Extension Semi, MPL Script Semi, X-Rame Script Semi, Tony Barth Reaper Things.
So the first 8 that you kind of heard are kind of like they come by default, it seems. Because I didn't install those at all. They just came by default when I synchronized the packages. But the ones that I did install always appear closer to the bottom of the list. So I have Tony's.
Tony Barth Reaper Things Semi.
And then I have
Ascendant Scripts.
Ascendant Scripts. So these are the 2 repositories that I've imported. And obviously now you can see they're connected to ReaPack. Now there are some cool things you can do in Manage Repositories. So if I was to go back up to Tony's repository.
Tony Barth Reaper Things Semi.
And in this case, when you right click on a repository or hit Shift F10 or Applications key, a context menu pops up.
Context menu.
And this context menu gives you different options for what you can do for your specific repositories. So for the first one, you can refresh a repository.
Refresh R.
Which I'm going to assume is the same as like synchronizing the scripts in the repository itself. I've never used it, but it's there. Then the next one is copy URL.
Copy URL C.
Which can be very handy in a situation where you're wanting to share the link to a developer's repository with someone else. So you can just come here within your ReaPack download manager and then just hit copy URL over the ReaPack repository you're looking for.
Install new packages sub-menu I.
Install new packages. I don't know what it does.
Uninstall U.
And then you have uninstall if you want to remove a repository.
About Tony Barth Reaper Things A.
And then you have an about section for the developers page. Some developers may have information, others may not. So it just depends on whether the developer has filled this section out.
Refresh R.
And then it just cycles back around. So one quick disclaimer here is if you're on the Mac and you're using VoiceOver, this context menu is not accessible to you. So you won't be able to do the copy URL or uninstall or any of the actions in that menu yet. However, if you want to copy the URL from here, what you can do is hit VL-Shift-C over the repository that you want to copy the URL from, and you can copy the text of that repository. So that is one workaround that you can use at the moment until this gets resolved. So I hope that helps. So yeah, those are all the options in that context menu.
Manage repositories dialog.
Now, there are a couple of options in here as well. You have Browse Packages.
Browse Packages button Alt+B.
Which, when you activate this, will take you directly to the Browse Packages page from here. And then you have
Import/export.
Import/export, which gives you different options for importing or exporting a repository file.
Options,
Which gives you general ReaPack settings that you can change. Let me see what it has in here.
Context menu, install new packages when synchronizing I.
Okay, so that's that.
Enable pre-releases globally left paren, bleeding edge right paren, P.
I've never used this, but I'm assuming pre-releases has something to do with releasing something before it's actually supposed to release.
Prompt to uninstall obsolete packages checked.
Oh, that's important. If you want to uninstall packages that are no longer in the repository, ReaPack will let you know. You can either check this or uncheck this to have it not let you know.
Search for synonyms of common words checked S. Network settings. Restore default settings R. Install new packages when synchronizing I.
So there's really just more so general ReaPack settings, as I mentioned before.
Manage repositories dialog.
The one that I think you may get a use out of is the import/export button.
Import/export.
So if I hit enter on this, it will open up a context menu with 3 options.
Context menu.
The first options is
Import repositories,
which just takes you back to the import repositories combo box that we were in before. So I guess that's a way that you can, if you're like, hey, I want to add more, but I don't want to go back or exit the window, you can just go here.
Import offline archive.
And then we have
Export offline archive.
So something cool that ReaPack does is you can create what is called an offline archive file. And basically what that means is for any repository you have in this manage repositories list, you can create a file that you can use while you're offline. So in a situation where you want to have access or you want to give someone access to a repository, but they're not connected to the internet, you can go to this option, Export Offline Archive, to create a file. And that will store all the ReaPack repository data in there so that when you're going to, relaunch everything and import the repositories, you can go back up to the Import Offline Archive file option and import it from there. So as an example, let's create a file using Tony's repository. Let me make sure I'm in the right one.
Browse the repositories in a Tony Barth Reaper things semi.
Okay, so let's hit Alt-I to enter into import/export.
Context menu.
And then go down to export.
Export offline archive. Export offline archive dialog.
Okay, so this opens up a window and you can title it whatever you want. In my case, I'm just going to title it Tony's
selected.
Tony Reaper things offline.
Tony Reaper things offline.
And then just hit enter.
Transaction report dialog. OK button Alt+O.
Let's see what it says.
Operation completed successfully.
Okay, so this is the transaction report thing that I was telling you about when we were talking about synchronized packages.
ReaPack /cache /reapack.xml.
So
/cache carriage return user plugin x64.dll.
So it did something, I don't know what it is, but basically whenever you get a transaction report, you can just hit up arrow and it will take you into the report window.
User
and you would just tab to get over to the OK button.
OK button on Reaper v7.30- licensed for personal/small business use.
Now I don't know if there's a manage repositories window is open, but let's see.
Reaper v7.30 manage repositories dialog.
Okay.
The repository ascendant scripts.
So here's the window. It was hiding behind the OBS.
Tony Barth Reaper things semi.
Okay. Now I'm going to uninstall this.
Context menu about uninstall you. Manage repositories dialog.
And I'm going to navigate over to, let's see.
ReaPack query dialog uninstall one repository.
Yeah, so I'm going to uninstall this so we can go back and import the offline archive file.
No, yes, Reaper v7.30- licensed for personal/.
Okay, so now that we're back out in the Reaper main window, go back to ReaPack.
OSARA. Manage repositories dialog. Ascendance.
Okay, so we don't have Tony's repository anymore. I'm going to hit Alt-I to go to the import export.
Context menu.
And then import.
Import offline archive.
And then hit enter.
Import offline archive dialog file name :
Now in here, this is my assumption. Generally when you are opening the import offline archive window, it will take you directly into the Reaper resource path by default. So if I'm to shift tab from here,
cache not selected 1 of 2.
We have cache.
Tony Reaper things offline.reapack archive 2 of 2.
And then we have our ReaPack archive file, the offline archive file that we've created. Now, this is located, if I backspace.
Items view list. ReaPack 18 of 21.
It's in a folder called ReaPack in the Reaper resource path. So this, whenever you download your ReaPack file and install it for the first time in user plugins, this folder gets created by Reaper to store any things related to ReaPack. Like if it's registry files or in this case, Reaper archive files, it stores them in here.
Items view list.
So if you want to back up your ReaPack archive files, just go into the options menu in Reaper, go to show Reaper resource path, and then look for ReaPack, that folder, and then just pick them up from there.
Tony Reaper things offline.reapack archive.
Okay, so let me hit enter on this. Oh, and that's the extension, ReaPack archive. So make sure you're looking for a ReaPack archive file. Hit enter on it.
ReaPack notice dialog: 1 or more native Reaper extensions were installed. These newly installed files won't be loaded until Reaper is restarted. OK button.
Okay, so let's hit OK.
Transaction report dialog.
And then there's another transaction report. If you want to read it, fine, hit OK.
Reaper v7.30.
And then I think
OB manage repositories dialog. The repositories.
So this window's still open.
Ascend.
Okay, so Tony's repository is not going to appear yet. We have to restart.
OK button on Reaper v7.
But yeah, that window is kind of floating around after you do any of these actions. So if you're doing any screen captures or anything, definitely make sure to tab around until you find it and close out of it. Okay, let's close out of Reaper.
Reaper v7.30.
Okay, let's hit Alt-X and go back into ReaPack.
Manage repositories dialog.
And go into manage repositories. So let's hit end.
Ascendant X-8.
Huh. What happened to the repository?
Browse package. The cancel button. OK button. Options. Import import repository. Import offline. Import cache nots. Tony Reaper thing. ReaPack notice dialog: 1 or more. Transaction report. All done. Bullet silently install x86 line 64 binaries when packages don't provide any ARM6-.
Let me see something.
OK. Reaper V7, no tracks. OSARA, man, ascendance, x-ray, ascendant, brow, import / export. Button Alt plus I.
Let me hit synchronize packages to see what happens.
Auto color / icon. OSARA sub, synchronize, ReaPack : Reaper V7. No track.
Okay, now let's go back into manage repositories.
OSARA, manage, ReaPack semi, REA team script, ascend, x,
What's going on?
Reaper V7, OB, Reaper V, OB, Reaper V7.
Let me close out of this.
Taskbar. Reaper V7, no track. OSARA sub, synchronize pack, import, manage, ascendant script semi.
Well then, let's just go back into import repositories.
Import repositories dialog.
And then I'm just gonna paste Tony's link again here.
Blank. Item pinned : import type or cancel, type or pin. Window, https://gethup.com/timtam/repack/raw/master/index.
Okay, there it is.
Item pinned : import type or paste one or more unavailable. Manage repositories dialog. The repositories in Tony Barth Reaper things semi.
So I don't know why it didn't want to do the ReaPack archive, but know that that is an option that's available to you, that hopefully you can just have a ReaPack archive. You can share that with the person or yourself if you feel like you want to use it for future use. And I guess as a fail-safe, in a situation where it doesn't want to load, just make sure you have your ReaPack repository URLs saved in a document somewhere. That's like a good tip that you should probably kind of consider as well.
Cancel, OK button Alt plus O.
So let's hit OK and just exit out of this window.
Reaper V7.30.
Okay.
Synchronize Packages S.
So I was going to use the browse packages within the manage repositories, but hey, let's go back through the ReaPack submenu. Now, our final thing we're going to explore is browse packages.
Browse packages.
And from here, you can just hit enter on this.
Browse packages dialog.
And this will open up a dialog window where you can go to actually browse the scripts plugins from a particular repository. First and foremost, let's check the layout so that way you can get an idea as to what's in here and talk about hotkeys and stuff like that. So we get dropped over an edit box called filter.
Filter : edit blank.
And that's where you type your search terms. And then the next option is clear.
Clear button Alt plus E.
Which does what it says, it clears the filter. Interestingly enough though, even if you don't have anything in the search filter, if you're anywhere in this window, you can hit Alt-E and it will take you back to the filter combo box. So that's a great hotkey on Windows to just basically navigate quickly to the filter box.
Display : combo box all collapsed.
Then we have a display combo box, which basically filters all the packages in the results field. The results list. So you can filter, if you have it set to all, it will display all packages regardless of status within your results list. But I think you can hit first letter navigation to expand the list.
Installed.
Okay, so I takes you to installed. Queued, which I think is like packages that are on the way to being installed. And then you have
out of date,
which is packages that there's like a newer version, and the version you have is out of date at this moment.
Obsolete.
And then you have obsolete, which basically filters the packages that are no longer existing within a repository. So let's go back to all.
All. 2000 display : combo box all collapsed.
Okay. And then if you tab
2167/2167 packages. Button.
There's a button that tells you how many packages you currently have, not necessarily installed, but available to you within ReaPack.
List.
Then you have list, which is the area where all your results will appear once you enter in something in the filter combo box.
Select all button Alt+S.
Select all selects all packages in the list.
Unselect all button Alt+U.
X self-explanatory does the opposite.
OK button Alt+O.
And I guess when there's actions, when you have something like a package selected, an actions button should appear. So and then you have your OK.
Cancel button
and cancel button.
Filter : edit blank.
Okay, so I'm going to type velocity because I'm going to look for a script in Tony's repository.
Velocity.
And once you type something, you can down arrow.
Velocity. Semi-clamp velocity of selected MIDI notes
and it will take you directly into the results list. So I'm going to look for
semi-convert note on with semi-export, semi-clamp, semi-export, semi-increase or decrease velocity between two limits entered by user with tension semi, MIDI editor semi, left paren, 1.1 right paren, semi, Lee Julian pour Reaper accessible augmented by Chessel semi, script semi, December 18th, 2024 4 of 16.
So this is a cool velocity ramp script that's in the Tony's Reaper Things repository. So Tony Barth's repository has this. There's a lot of information that it will tell you the date, who created the script, and so on and so forth. Now, while you're in the list, at least on Windows, you can hit Alt-A to navigate to the Actions menu once you have your script selected. Or you can hit Shift F10 or right-click or Applications key, and it will open up the Actions menu from within the results list. Now, sadly for Mac users, all the hotkeys I'm mentioning are not going to be applicable. But you can still access the options that I'm going to mention from within the Actions menu itself. So you can just tab to the Actions button and hit enter on that, and you will be able to see all of what I'm going to mention here.
Context menu.
So here's the context menu. And if I arrow down, we have
Install v1.1i.
Install.
Version submenu v.
Versions, which is basically, it gives you a version history of different versions of the same plugin or script or whatever the effect is. So that if you want to go back to a previous version, you can just come in here.
Pin current version unavailable p.
Pin current version allows you to have ReaPack only install the version that you want. So regardless of whether this plugin gets updated to more better versions, you can pin it at a certain point so that it doesn't, whenever ReaPack installs this, it doesn't install a later version or an older version.
Enable pre-releases left paren.
Enable pre-releases. Don't know what that is.
Uninstall unavailable u.
And if you want to uninstall a package, you can just come in here as well and uninstall it.
About this package p.
About this package will tell you what it does.
About Tony Barth Reaper Things a.
And there's another box here, another option here for you to know who the developer is if you want to know more about them.
Copy package name C.
And this one's handy if you want to share the name of a package with someone else so that they can search for it within ReaPack as well.
Select all S, unselect all U, install v1.1i.
Okay, so let's install this.
Browse packages dialog.
Now, if we scroll over the name of the package again.
List. I semi, increase or decrease velocity between two limits entered by user with tension semi.
It will add an I to let you know that this is an installed package. So once you have selected install, hit OK.
ReaPack transaction report dialog.
And it will give you a transaction report, and just hit OK again.
Reaper v7.30- licensed for personal/small business use.
And it will drop you back out into Reaper's main window. Now, from here, we're going to see if we can find it within our actions list to run it. But let me...
No track.
Let me create a MIDI. Let me get a MIDI instrument so that I can test this out.
One armed labs, one item.
Okay, now we have our MIDI item. Let me...
D3, C, B, a sharp, a 2, G sharp 2.
Okay, so we got this, and I'm gonna insert a bunch of notes.
Bar 3, beat 4, 5, bar.
Okay, there we go.
Left bracket unsafe.
So let me see if I can find the script by Chessel.
Actions dialog filter.
And I'm just gonna type increase.
List, script colon, Reaper accessible line increase or decrease velocity between two limits entered by user with tension. Lewis semi, Tony Barth Reaper things /MIDI.
Okay.
Automation, script.
So it finally appeared. So there was an interesting situation, and I feel like I could just demo it for the sake of you knowing what to do. But I've encountered a situation with this script, and I don't know what happened. But let's say for some reason your script doesn't install properly, or it doesn't appear in your Reaper's actions list whenever you search for it. You can just tab until you find
short add new action button,
and then hit enter on this.
Load REA scripture.
Hit this option, load REA script.
Load script colon.
And this will open up a window again in the Reaper resource path. Shift tab.
Reaper accessible line increase or decrease velocity between two limits entered by user with tension selected.
So this is the script I want to import, but I'm going to backspace so that you can know where this is. Like, where are the scripts located in the Reaper resource path?
Items view list. Tony Barth Reaper things. Item.
It's in this folder.
Scripts 19 of 21.
So if you're wanting to look for a script, you would come here, hit enter on this.
Items view list. Tony Barth Reaper things 2 of 2.
And your scripts are organized whenever you're importing scripts from ReaPack. It's organized by developer name. So I have Tony Barth as the first person that I've installed scripts from. And I'm going to hit enter on this.
MIDI editor not selected 1 of 1.
And depending on the developer, they may have multiple subfolders. And I'm just going to hit enter on this.
Load script colon.
What?
Load script names MIDI editor not load script colon. Dialog Reaper accessible line increase or decrease velocity between two limits entered by user with tension. Lua file not found. Check the load script.
Okay.
Name split button. File name colon. Combo box collapse. Items view list. Name split button. MIDI editor not select MIDI. Items view list. Reaper accessible line increase or decrease velocity between two limits.
So I'm not going to hit enter on this. I'm just going to say, so there's the script for what I'm going to be doing right now. But yeah, that's just the place where you can go to like find your script. If in case, for some reason it doesn't load properly from ReaPack to Reaper, you can just go into that, just do the steps that I just did right now, look for the script, hit enter on the script, and at that point, it should be visible within the Reaper Actions menu.
Left bracket unsaved. 1 armed labs 1 item.
Okay, so I'm going to hit F4 again to get into the actions list.
Actions dialog.
And I'm going to type increase.
List 1. Short. List 1 list.
What just happened?
Left. Action. List 1 list. Script : Reaper accessible line increase or decrease velocity between 2 limits entered by user with tension. Lewis MI.
Okay, so here's the script. You can just hit enter and it will run the script. In my case, because I want to use this on a regular basis, I'm going to add a key command.
Shortcuts for selected action grouping.
So when you're over your script, you just tab twice.
Add.
Until you find the add button, and then hit enter on that.
Keyboard /MIDI/OSC input dialog.
And then type whatever key command that you would like to use. So I'm going to type Alt-Y.
Selection removed.
Because Y and all of its modifiers are available to you for you to use and bind to your key map. So when you're using OSARA, there are key commands that are already bound to other keys, but Y and Alt-Y, Alt-Shift-Y, Control-Shift-Y, and all of the modifiers with the letter Y are available for you to use. So definitely keep that in mind.
OK button.
Hit OK.
Actions dialog filter : shortcuts for selected action. List 1 list. Alt+Y semi. Script : Reaper accessible line increase or decrease velocity between 2 limits entered by user with tension. Lewis MI. And
as you can hear, your key command will be the first thing that will be mentioned in the actions list, just to let you know that this is bound to a key command. And yeah, that's all.
Left 101 dash.
Now let's demo this.
MIDI take :
Now, just to give some kind of background on this, this is a pretty, there is a tutorial by Chessel on how to use this script, but this is a script made by Lee Julian and Chessel that allows you to create velocity ramps on selected notes. And you can do it going up, you can do it going down, and it will give you different parameters that you can adjust to create the slope of the velocity ramp. So I'm going to select all my notes by hitting Control A.
23 events selected.
And I'm going to hit my key command to run the script.
Scale velocity dialog. Start edit selected 100.
So we got 100. You got a start velocity box, and then you have an end velocity box.
End edit selected 100.
And I'm going to type 0 here.
Selection removed.
And then you have tension.
Tension edit selected 100.
Which in simple terms is just a way to say the slope. That's how I would interpret it, but Chessel explains in the link in the description below as well. And then you can hit OK.
OK button. MIDI.
And it will just automatically create a velocity ramp going down. Okay. And we can do the opposite.
Scale velocity dialog.
I'm going to hit 0.
Selection removed.
And then
End edit selected 0.
I'm going to put 100.
OK button.
And then you can hit OK.
MIDI take :
And then
scale.
You can also set the same velocity. So if you just want to reverse it back without having to, obviously you can just go into the events properties dialog to just set all the notes to the same velocity. You can also do that from here as well.
Bar 3.
And you can also set notes within
Bar 2. Bar beat 2. Beat 2. Beat 1. Beat 3 0. 50% G.
You can take some of those notes and then run the script as a ramp between.
Selection removed.
So as you can kind of hear, it gives you many ways to you can create different velocity patterns within a hi-hat or whatever you're wanting to do with it. And that is the end of this tutorial or this accessibility guide for today. Okay, so we've reached the end of this video, and I just wanted to say thank you for watching. This has been a very enjoyable project to kind of work on in terms of just learning ReaPack, and I hope that the knowledge that I've gained here and that I'm sharing here may be helpful to you as well. And overall, definitely look in the description. There are many links to different resources that I've kind of mentioned throughout the course of the video. One that I would like to highlight is the text guide, because it acts like a supplement to this video. So there are some things that I didn't mention in this video that I'll probably mention or make videos on in future. But it is a cool resource if you're wanting to have a quick reference guide / cheat sheet as a screen reader user to how you can use ReaPack. Now, I would like to give a quick shout out to Jenny K, Scott Chesworth, and Tony Barth for helping me edit the accessible ReaPack guide. Overall, I just pray that this information may be helpful to whoever sees it. And overall, may you hit the share, hit the like, and hit the subscribe, and keep safe and have a wonderful blessing of a day. And shalom. Peace until next time.